This is Melissa Ciudakis, and welcome to A Breath of Fresh Marketing. I'm here with my host, Mallory Thompson. What's going on? What?
I know.
What's going on? This was a crazy week.
Oh my goodness, I know. I think everybody is definitely tired of being cooped up in their houses, and they're coming back to marketing for sure.
Yeah. It's totally insane. I'm ready for this week to be over. I mean, it's crazy. But I'll tell you what, I totally gave in. And after 2 months of not ordering out, I officially ordered Chinese food tonight. What?
Oh, nice. What did you have?
I got the General Chow's chicken with pork fried rice.
Nice.
Yeah. And I got wonton soup, and I got some lo mein chicken for my daughter.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great. We ordered in too. We had barbecue though.
What kind of barbecue? Who'd you get?
Pulled pork. Pulled pork. There's a place around the corner that we like the barbecue from. So it's not North Carolina barbecue, which I miss dearly. I'm gonna go back to North Carolina one day, and I'm gonna stay for a week and just eat barbecue until they have to like roll me onto a plane to come home. But yeah, it was delicious. I needed it after a long day. Yeah.
Day, forget about it.
Hello?
It's been a long week.
Hello.
Is this James? Our guest has arrived.
Hi. Sorry if I interrupt the conversation. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
You know what? It's so great to have you tonight. We have James Leitner here from Mission Clean Water. So, James, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and Mission Clean Water?
Sure. Of course. Thank you. First off, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you guys offering for me to share my story, and looking forward to sharing this podcast and everything. So my name is James Leitner, perfectly as you just said. I'm 26 years old, and I'm originally from the suburban New Jersey area, just outside New York City. And kind of lived and grew up in this area my entire life. And throughout the years, I've worked in the clean water international development world and decided to create Mission Clean Water after a series of a bunch of very crazy fundraisers. And our main focus is to provide people with clean drinking water and proper sanitation and hygiene. But we, as an organization, try and focus on, really making sure everyone has universal access to clean water.
Got it.
Awesome. Is that what inspired the marathon for a month then? I'm sorry, a marathon a month for a year.
No, you're completely okay. It definitely did. I wanted to really try and create very symbolic style fundraisers, and just witnessing and seeing the journey that women and children are doing all the time to walk and try and find water that is not even clean, just had a profound effect on me when I first learned water was an issue until I created Mission Clean Water. And that kind of inspired this idea of creating very symbolic style fundraisers and journeys. So it all began when I was talking to a friend, what's a fundraiser never completed before? And the first idea was to complete a marathon while carrying 45 pounds of water, or how much someone needs in a day to bring water to their family. And then after the first marathon, I got addicted and decided to do it for a month for a year.
What? So basically, you spent 143 days walking 3,250 miles from New Jersey to San Francisco, carrying 90 pounds of water. What was that like?
It was unique, I guess you can say. After I finished my 12th marathon, marking a marathon a month for a year, one each month, within 3 weeks of completing that last marathon, I began, as you said, leaving New Jersey to begin walking across the United States, sort of 3,250 miles for the path that I created, which is about how far a child walks in a year to find and get access to water. 5 gallons or 45 pounds of water is enough for 1 or 2 people. So I wanted to symbolize what a family does. So I actually had attached to my waist 10 gallons of water that I pulled the entire way with me, including all of the gear that I needed to sleep, eat, contact home and let people know that I was okay. The trip was very crazy and a lot of fun. Every day you're kind of physically and emotionally exhausting yourself, walking anywhere from 20 to 50 miles. So there's lots of highs and lows you kind of have to pick yourself out of. And the beauty of it is that the United States is drastically different depending on where you are. So I had, the beautiful East Coast, states like New Jersey, New York up to Buffalo and areas in Michigan. And then got to the Great Plains where it's just corn and wheat for miles in Nebraska, to the mountains in Colorado, to the deserts in Utah and Nevada, eventually making it to San Francisco. And the whole journey has its crazy stories of getting everything from hailed on to meeting very unique people to getting attacked by dogs to a little bit of everything. So it was a very special trip.
James, did you say corn and wheat or corn and weed?
Corn and wheat. Yeah. So I don't know if you two have ever, very good, very good clarification. But I did make it to Colorado.
Okay, where the wheat is.
Yeah. With Nebraska, if people have ever driven through it, it's just where that big landscape agriculture is. I got to stay with someone that manages a bunch of cornfields. And 8 people manage about 8,000 acres of corn, which is a humongous amount of space. And when you're just walking down the roads, it's all you see, just kind of like the corn waving in the wind. And it looks like a literal ocean because you just see like the little yellow tips of it just blowing crazy. It was beautiful. But at the time, it was also the middle of the summer. So it was like 100 degrees and just terribly humid. So that was a unique battle.
It's everybody's dream, right? To take a road trip across the country, Route 66 and all that. Has it ruined it for you? Or is there like a special allure to going fast now that you've walked very slowly across the country?
It's actually, no one's ever actually asked me that question before. And I actually really like it, or like that question, because, I've driven across country before, and walking is a little bit more of a unique trip. I think if I were to do another cross-country trip again, I wouldn't walk. The idea of cycling is unique, something I might want to do. But if I were to drive again cross-country, I guess I kind of took more of a central route. And there's so much more to see up in the north, down in the south. So, there's ways of making it a little bit different. What I found really special about the idea of walking across the United States is that if you're driving, you're really just on interstates with a end destination. So you're passing through all of these towns. If you are on a bicycle, you're still going pretty fast. So a lot of towns and people you don't have the chance to stop and talk to. But when you're walking, you're not going that fast and you're just walking. Anyone can approach you. Every town that you go through, you get the chance to kind of experience it and meet the locals, which I really loved. So I think if I did a cross-country driving trip with a few friends, I think I would just want to take our time and make more stops pretty much.
Right on.
Definitely. It's so funny. This totally reminds me of that movie Forrest Gump. Across the country.
Oh, of course.
And I have to ask you, you have all this water. Do you drink your own separate supply? Is that like a little hidden thing you have in your pocket? Or what are you doing to keep yourself hydrated along the way?
No, of course. And, hydration and heat exhaustion were my 2 very big concerns during this trip. The water that I was carrying, like, for example, during the marathons, which I guess is separate, and during the cross-country trip, that I really tried just keeping as is and just kind of as, like, I guess an emergency supply. During the marathons, I never had to use the water. But during the cross-country trip, I think there were 2 or 3 occasions where I did use the water because I was completely out. But during the cross-country trip, I had my own personal water supply. Usually each day I would start with about a gallon of water, right around 3 liters, that I had like a little electrolyte mix with, so I can kind of, replace some of those essential vitamins and things, and kind of had my own supply that I would keep, a little bit cooler, a little bit closer to me, so I can continue moving and try and stay hydrated. And at times, if I'm walking extremely far, sometimes I have to find water in nature and treat it. or I get lucky and reach a town and can just continually resupply.
Nice.
So we're going to completely change topics now. You have 2 projects for clean water in Uganda right now. Uganda. I don't think I've ever said that word out loud before.
Uganda. No worries. That's completely okay.
How do you go about bringing them access to clean water? Is it as simple as a filter? I've seen the filter straw before. Or is it, do you need to set up like a system to physically bring them water?
No, of course. It's a great question. So in terms of our projects, we really want to make sure that no matter where you are located, you are always within 0.5 kilometers or about 0.2 miles of a clean water collection point. Because we want to make sure whatever community you live in, you have access to clean water just because of the benefits of no longer having to walk to collect it and then no longer having to use or drink dirty water. So we kind of go for more of a systems or utilities-based approach. Now, depending on what we do is just simply based on what might work best for that community. So for an example, for those 2 projects you just mentioned, what we did was we found within the community the best area to try and drill for water, so dig a really deep hole to get water that's underground. And we would pump it and more or less transport it using pipes to different areas throughout the community. And, we really have a strong community approach to make sure we're working with the locals and developing a project that they want and that they want to try and take care of into the future as well.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
You haven't noticed?
Things are really crazy. How has COVID-19 affected your fundraising activities?
Sure. Okay. It's been a little bit of a challenge, but, similar to what a lot of small businesses and other nonprofits are doing, we're finding ways to kind of adapt and overcome to this scenario. As an organization or as a nonprofit organization, we are small in our capacity right now. I'm the only one doing work full time. And so as a result, if something happens to me, then kind of our efforts pause for a little bit. So that's leading into, because during the very first few, I guess in the middle of March is when COVID really kind of hit the area. I unfortunately came down with it, and that kind of paused everything for a little bit. And that just kind of, broken a lot of the networks and communication that we were building on to build a good fundraising network. And then we had a lot of fundraisers planned for March and April and May, and all of those either got canceled or pushed back to another date. And for a lot of nonprofits, because of springtime's nice weather, it's when a lot of us try and really get a majority of our fundraising efforts in. And so because of this, you just kind of have to try and figure out what to do or to try and move things forward.
Wait. We did not know that you came down with COVID-19. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah. I was finished. I knew you were going to move into it. Yeah.
You're going to freak out a little bit about that?
I actually... Yes, it's a little twist to the podcast. Every day I try and think about how I got it, and I am not 100% sure, but I have 2 theories. But first, I'll kind of tell you, the symptoms and things that I had. I'm in New Jersey, or at least right now, and so March 16th, I think, was when everything, like all the schools around here closed, all the businesses were told you can no longer be open. I think that was a Monday, and then Tuesday, the March 17th, normal day, during the morning, during the afternoon, no issues at all. It was completely fine. It felt great. And then just like at 10 p.m. at night, I just went from like feeling nice and cool to insanely hot. And I was like, oh no, this is not good. And just immediately knew.
So wait, what was that? You got to tell us. What was going on with your symptoms? I mean, were you totally breaking out in a massive fever, or did you have those like cold flu-like symptoms? Did you get achy all over? Did you feel like really tired?
I pretty much had everything that you just said. It was probably the most intense and hardest to shake fever or flu that I've ever had. So pretty much my symptoms were first a fever that for the first 2 days just stayed there and nothing really fluctuated. My throat got really dry, and I really didn't have any shortness of breath, But if I tried taking a full deep breath, then usually a dry cough or something would lead afterwards. And then also because of the fever, I just couldn't sleep throughout the day. So or at least through the night. So I just had terrible fatigue the entire day. It was hard to try and stay awake for more than a few hours, and was like naturally drinking close to 1.5 gallons of water to try and just stay hydrated, and just also had some really bad digestive issues too. So there's kind of these collection of issues. And it wasn't 3 days after I came down with the fever, I finally talked to my main doctor and was like, here's what's been going on. I kept her in the loop the entire time. And she told me, you can try going to a place that is testing, because you're young, you're healthy, you're very athletic. You're probably not going to be tested, and they're just going to tell you to quarantine. I ended up going to one of those places. And just because of the symptoms that I had, the doctor made the call to test me, and I had to wait, which was hard to wait 7 days to finally hear back. And that's when I kind of found out all the issues that I had, or at least had a positive test, and then just quarantined for 14 days. And after the 14 days, felt much better and felt, recovered from the flu and the fever. But just day 15, I went for like a relaxed run and just could not breathe. And it took about 3 weeks for like my lungs and my natural breathing rhythm to try and really come back to me.
That's crazy. I had no idea. Really, I had no idea. I'm glad you're feeling better, though. I mean, you sound fine.
Thank you. No, yeah, everything feels much better now. I'm very happy and very fortunate to kind of have, I guess, some of the milder cases. And, once I found out about these issues, I told everyone that I was in contact with for the past 5 days or a few days to, consider getting tested. And I'm very happy that out of everyone that I was in contact with, no one else got sick. So we just took the right measures and everyone was fine. So that was good.
So your next project, 30 Days for Clean Water, is set for July. Is that one of the ones that got postponed? Can you tell us a little bit more about your new project coming up?
Sure. No, of course. So originally, our next fundraiser was what you said, our 30 Days for Clean Water fundraiser, where more or less, we would, as a big collective community effort, try and fully fund our next clean water projects. Originally, it was planned for May, and it was going to be a big group effort of everyone getting together. But because of what's been going on in the pandemic, we ended up changing the date to July and creating more virtual aspects to the event. So now what the event is, in the month of July, we're hosting the event 30 Days for Clean Water, where we have virtual run capabilities where people can, accept a water walk and try and run or walk a specific distance every day. We have single virtual running events. And then to really try and push a big effort, me personally, I'll be running 30 miles a day for 30 days for the entire month of July.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot, but hopefully I'll have some shade.
Right, and you'll have water. So.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Well, July is my ultimate favorite month of the year, other than June, which is my daughter's birthday. But my birthday's in July, so that's why I'm partial to July.
We should do some running with water at Web Rocket. We should help support the cause.
Woo! Yeah,
I don't run, but we could try.
You know what? I love running. I ran track in high school. I love water. It's all great. I should drink more water. James, you're inspired.
Thank you.
Really?
No, because of the line of the work that I'm in, I'm constantly thinking about just drinking water the entire time. But yeah, you guys are welcome to walk. We can run. We can, do a little video together. We can, make sure we all run together. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yeah. So James, the proceeds from your next fundraiser are for an all-girls school in Uganda. So how did you select that particular school to be the recipient of the funds?
No, of course. So during all of our trips to Uganda, we, are constantly messaged or called and communicated by different people in different communities that are in need of clean water assistance. So what we've done during a few of our trips is just we try and visit all these different communities and try and create some sort of assessment to decide who needs or who's in the biggest need for an intervention. So usually some of that criteria focuses on who has water the least throughout the year, because sometimes it rains a lot, sometimes it never rains at all. Some people's water completely disappears. We try and factor in how many people live within that community and how, the different demographics can grow with clean water. And so with the projects that we've completed, next one we wanted to focus on was this all-girls school, because of all the students and teachers there, they have no clean water on source or on their actual school grounds. So all the girls, if they do want water, they have to walk somewhere off school property to try and find water. And if you're walking in a uniform and people see you, you're kind of at risk to getting hurt, or, not being able to make it back safely to the school grounds. And since it also is a school, we want to make sure that if we can provide a clean water source locally for the girls, they will not have to, they would not have to miss classes anymore to try and find water. Part of this project is also kind of a hygiene effort. There's not enough restrooms for all the students. Imagine, for 1,000 people, they only had 5 restrooms. We want to try and develop a better hygiene plan and sanitation plan so they can have a cleaner environment to learn, as well as, feel safe and, be able to not feel scared to go and use the restroom or anything.
Don't take your bathroom for granted.
If you've ever had a clogged toilet, you wouldn't take your bathroom for granted.
No.
No, I hate clogged toilets. I hate it. I hate it.
I'm sure he came all the way out here to talk about toilets.
It's a normal conversation for me. Don't worry.
I think in a way, all of your fundraising events have been successful. What is your most successful thus far, in your opinion, and why do you think that is?
Sure. Fundraising's challenging. You spend so much effort trying to get people involved, and, a lot of people do say yes, a little more say no. So you're constantly moving these efforts and try and get as much people involved as possible. I want to, what would be our most successful fundraiser? I would say last spring, we had an extremely successful fundraiser. We partnered with a bunch of gyms in the New Jersey area and hosted a really big and long water walk where the different gyms would more or less in 24 hours see how far or see how they can incorporate carrying water into their classes. Typically, when someone walks to carry water, they'll carry a big 5-gallon drum, which is about 45 pounds, similar to what I used during the marathons and the cross-country trip. So they tried finding cool and unique ways to incorporate that much water and that much weight into their classes. And it just felt really warming because after all the outreach and efforts that we did, we were able to get a lot of gyms involved and just see all these videos, these different classes and people participating with these big blue 5-gallon drums of water. That was very successful. We passed our fundraising goals. We far exceeded how many people I thought were going to participate. And it was just flat out a lot of fun too.
That is the most important part.
So when you first started your water adventures, did you think this would become a huge, large project?
Not originally. So originally what ended up happening was after I finished my cross-country trip, a lot of people came up to me and, were simply wondering what is next. And possibilities were trying to develop Mission Clean Water into its own organization. Because at the time during the cross-country trip, I was using like missioncleanwater.com just as a way for people to log on and just see that I'm still alive during the cross-country walk and get updates. Or, I could try and explore and find another full-time job somewhere else. But I knew just not being able to help people without clean water was going to significantly bother me and make me very anxious. So overall, after, being involved in this world for a while, I decided to develop Mission Clean Water as its own organization and was able to find a few people and a few other nonprofit leaders to kind of mentor me as I went. I guess naturally planning, I did think we would try and be able to gradually reach where we are right now. And there's still a lot more very important steps that I hope to reach very soon. So it's been very fun to kind of see how we grow. And I think I'm definitely more excited to see what our impact is and how far we have grown in, a month to a few months from now to a few years.
That's awesome. So how has your life changed personally since you started Mission Clean Water?
That's it's like
in very large ways.
it's changed in very large ways, very unique ways. Some people would say I've stayed the same since the cross country trip. It's been very unique. I want to say simply because exploring the social nonprofit entrepreneurial lifestyle, definitely as someone that it was more or less straight out of college with very limited connections, was uniquely challenging and, really gave the experience to start at square one and be able to build myself and to build Mission Clean Water. And personally, I feel as Mission Clean Water has grown, I've been able to build uniquely as a person. If, we were to meet in person, I'm still the very fun-loving individual who loves the outdoors and to explore and volunteer and such. But right now, Mission Clean Water, I do full-time, but because of our small capacity, is not my full-time paid position. But I hope as things grow that, it can become that in the future. But because since it is not right now, I've more or less for the past year and a half worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week, just to make sure I'm living and eating and have a roof over my head and still growing Mission Clean Water to see what it can become in a few months to a few years down the line.
Yeah, definitely. James, what's your day job?
So my day job, I work over at a gym. It's called Lifetime Athletic. They're kind of scattered all throughout the country. There might be one close to you guys. And so the Lifetime Athletic that is right next to me where I live has a very big rock wall. And so I'm in charge of their rock climbing facility. So everything that happens within the rock wall, because I love climbing, I'm more or less in charge of. So it's a perfect fit. It's just very like-minded, goofy individuals that work there. I pretty much just get to teach kids and adults how to climb all day, which I love. But I more or less spend most of my free time hanging out with people that are younger than 12 years old. It's a perfect environment where all the employees and administration and staff know what I'm doing. So they, find a lead for me or know I'm going to be traveling to Uganda to do my work. They're all like, go for it. That's awesome. We can't wait to hear how it all goes. So it's nice to have that structured, but also loose schedule.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. So how have you been coming up with the ideas for your fundraisers? I have to know.
All of the fundraisers have kind of been, I really try and focus on two main things with all the fundraisers that I do. And the two main things is ethical storytelling, as well as creating, a symbolic meaning behind all of the fundraisers. So with whatever project we're working on currently, I try and tie in some of those numbers to relate to that project. So, for example, the one that we did in the last spring, where all the gyms helped out at, it was to provide clean water to 1,500 people. So we tried incorporating that as like a distance to what we were doing for that project. For this one in particular, for the school, I'm taking on this symbolic meaning, which means the time it takes me to run 30 miles is about the same amount of time that these girls spend walking each day to find and collect water, which is usually in between 4 to 5 hours. So I'm, trying to constantly create that relationship and always have those big blue jerry can 5-gallon water drums with me. Always kind of create that mental image for people, similar to how I was carrying the water during the marathons, and to always relate it to the fact that children, if they don't have clean water, are walking to collect water every day. And, the more people we can help, the less people that will have to walk every single day to try and find and collect water. And a big other portion of it is kind of the story of ethical storytelling. So I would rather personally seek empathy through people seeing me go through these 24-hour events and seeing the pain that I'm going through carrying water versus showing someone that is in the communities we're working with in, things that in clothes that might be torn or, images that we personally haven't gotten approval of. Because if we're taking pictures of kids, we want to make sure the parents have given us full consent for that. So we really try and focus on showing empathy in different ways to really show how beautiful life is and can grow within these communities.
That's amazing. aside from donating money, what other things are you looking for people to donate? Are you taking collections of anything other than money, or?
We're not taking collections of anything else, for example, nothing COVID related or anything, simply because it's challenging for us because the majority of our work right now is international. So it's challenging to ship things, but we're always looking for people, one, simply speaking, to follow us and learn more about our story on social media or through our website. But also because right now we are a small organization, what has been very beneficial is people donating some of their time, once a week, once every few weeks, to provide, their expertise to help grow Mission Clean Water. So a good example is a few of my friends are very good graphic designers and photographers. They have helped us, collect good pictures, see how they work on the website and play with them. I've had a few friends that are very good on the finance and analytical side, see what information we're collecting and how we can use that for better how we're working and relating with our donors. So I would say right now, the two main ways people can get involved with us is one, to share and follow our story, but then send us a message and we can see other ways that relate to your expertise or other unique ways to get you involved as well.
That's great. So James, is there anything else you would like us to know or like everyone to know about Mission Clean Water?
There's probably tons of things. And I think one of the main things that I share with a lot of people is that I personally love talking to people and love sharing my story. So if there's anyone that listens to this podcast and has questions that are unanswered, you are welcome to go to our contact us form on our website, and I will directly contact you and we can set up a call and I can answer all your questions you have for as many hours as you want to talk. Personally, clean water has been an extremely big interest for me and an extremely big growing passion. So I don't see Mission Clean Water going anywhere. And I hope that, we'll continue growing and everyone listening can grow with us.
That's awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, James Leitner, please feel free to shout out your social media channel, your website. I mean, Instagram. Let's hear it. What do you got?
No, of course. So probably the two main ways you can follow us. Very simple. Our organization is called Mission Clean Water. And all you got to do is throw a .org at the very end and you'll get our website. Scroll to the bottom and you'll find all of our social media links. Or if you go to Facebook, you go to Instagram, you go to Twitter and type in Mission Clean Water, you will find us as well. And then if you want to learn more information about the 30 Days for Clean Water event coming up in July, what you can also do is you can text 30 miles to the number 44321, and you'll be immediately texted all the details for the fundraiser as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your time today, James. We love what you're doing. We love what you stand for. So keep running and keep drinking water. And, we're totally behind you 100%. And, we're running with you in theory. So it's amazing. Again, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Of course. No, definitely. And thank you for letting me share my story. I appreciate you guys inviting me on to here. And I look forward to building the relationship with you guys and anyone that has been listening to the podcast. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Have a good weekend.
Awesome. Take care, man. Have a great night.
Bye.
You too. Bye-bye.